Raptalk, we live. Come on in on a Friday night. We chilling. Y'all might hear a little bit in the background. I don't know how much that rain might sound to y'all. But it's raining in the D tonight, baby. But it's good though. So come on in, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we live. Raptalk Poetry. We're gonna talk about Gillie. Gillie the Kids comments. Shout out to $1 million worth of game. The show, they doing their thing, the podcast. He made some statements recently. We're gonna talk about it. And I definitely want to know how y'all feel about it. And the different aspects of it. We just gonna talk about hip hop in general. Like, is it an age limit on hip hop? We really gotta talk about it. We're gonna break it down. So we're gonna see if a couple people come on in, and we just gonna break it down, just have a little bit of fun with it, because this been a I ain't gonna say a quiet discussion a lot in hip hop, but it's like a lot of people have been talking about it, but some people kind of just back up off of it and be like, okay, well, we'll let it slide, because there's so many people that's in hip hop. Because first, let's just be real, we all grew older with it. We did. We actually did grow older with hip hop. And it's not a kid's game anymore. But at the same time, we know it's supposed to be. We still love hip hop. Cause it's like on one end. It's like on one end, by us being grown, we wanted to live forever and still be new and fresh to us because we grew up with it. And at the same time, we still understand that classic rock and country and all them other people, they do it. So why can't hip hop do it? Why can't we do it? We the culture. Why can't we do it just as like everybody else? Which we can. So it's like, what we doing? Like, how is you trying to treat hip hop like it can't be? So who is you gonna listen to? What side is you gonna take? We're gonna break it down though. I might get into a couple of poems or two. Oh, I can't show the cup. Well, I guess I can show the cup. Y'all done seen it already. I got me a little Tito Jackson tonight. I'm about to chill on this. Bad boy. Whoever come on in, we're gonna be a part of the show. Cause we definitely gonna hit Gillie comments. Cause it make for good conversation. Like, what is y'all gonna do? What side is you gonna take? Do hip hop got an age limit? Because it's already a lot of people that's still rapping. You got rappers that's grown out here already that's still making classic albums. Now that's one thing, if you trying to come in this game and you 40 and all that, that's a conversation piece. But still, shit, to be honest with you, you can probably still get off. You can still get off. I mean, I think you can. I mean, if you got some type of style and game about yourself, you probably can still get off and be popping. I mean, if you if you trying to come in the game and you ain't hip, you ain't cool, and you ain't got no type of style of game about yourself, it probably ain't gonna fly. I mean, let's just face it. It probably ain't gonna fly how you think. But that's up to the masses, because it's still an audience for everybody. I mean, let's just be real. There's an audience out there for everybody. No matter what you do, it's an audience out there. So I just say, now this is my take. This is just my take. I'll maybe say this. If you over 40 and you want to be attached to hip hop and rap, and you still trying to get in the game, definitely the chances of making it big is probably slim. Now I'm gonna just say that. I say making it big is probably slim. But now you could probably still do it and build you up some type of fan base or something, or get some type of following because we live in a world that's real big. And plus, let's just be fair and real. There's a lot of people that's in a certain demographic that just straight up don't like younger music. And they wish for that old nostalgia or style that they grew up on would come back. They wish for it. And you have to remember that a lot of people that we grew up on, some of them trying to still make albums, but it's just not clicking because they might be in tune a little bit, but they so used to just being treated a certain way, and the way the game and the business is. A lot of the people that we really grew up on that still might be lingering around doing music, it's basically only touring. Let's just face it. They're only doing touring and making money off the old songs. They really don't care about making new songs and trying to pop off new hits and all that and compete with the younger generation and be number one and big. I mean, of course you do got your Jay-Z's, Nas, E40. Those are exceptions of the game. Those are like the, how we say, the unicorns of the game. Those are the ones who just stood the test of time, who still at the top. So definitely hats off to those guys. I'm trying to see if I can mention any more. But I'm talking about, now those are the ones that if they drop the album today, people will still be in tune and looking for. Like I say, now those are my top three that I could think of. It's not too many that I could think of that still like that 45. Busta maybe, because I heard Busta about to drop a new one. Maybe he gonna get some ears. He gonna get some ears because he's staying aloof. But definitely Jay-Z, Nas, E40, and a couple others. I'm trying to think of a couple more off the top. So Busta, because he's an entertainer. So, and plus I just read that he's loading up to do another album. So it's a couple that can pull it off. But like Gillie the Kid said on the $1 Million, let me read what he said so we can break it down. This is what he said. Matter of fact, this was on the episode. He said, fucking right, there's an age limit to rap. He said, if you ain't popping by a certain age, let that shit go. Motherfuckers be like all the time, yo, you got the platform popping crazy. This is the perfect time to drop something new. Which is kind of true. They basically got like the #1 podcast, and all eyes is basically on him. He can't attach himself to music if he wanted to. But this is what he say. He say people ask him all the time, like, when you dropping something new, because you know you got the podcast. He say, shut the fuck up, man. Fuck is you talking about? Do I look like a that's holding on to yesterday? Do I look like a nigga that's elevating or escalating? So these is his word. He's on the podcast. So he just let it be known, like, he's not one of them rappers who's holding on to yesterday. But is that really true? Like, that the rappers who are still trying and doing it, are they holding on to yesterday? I mean, now there's some failed ones. You have to be so in tune to be one of them type of people that can still make an album or make a song and be relevant at these certain ages. You have to think about that. People like E40 and them, you can tell they still keep an ear to the streets. You gotta have some youngers around you to keep you grounded, for you to keep on trying, or to make you even attempt. And it's also good to have the people around you to tell you, like, man, let that shit go. Like, man, that ain't the move. That ain't the move. But of course, I always tell you, never be afraid to dream. So we do have that on the whole end of the spectrum too. Because there's some people They can find their niche doing it a certain way, or being a writer, or just being affiliated with the craft. They can still come up with money. I'm talking about monies. I mean, even with me doing poetry, I ain't no super young cat. But my style of poetry, of course it is borderline rap, and I call it Raptalk. But I still had to create a lane for what I'm doing because I am hip hop. But I still converted it into poetry because I'm knowing in my mind that hip hop is a young game. But I still find a way to correlate the two and express myself without trying to attempt to act young or walk that thin line of I'm the fresh new young kid on the block. No. I'm pushing motivation and inspiration and teaching and still just a student of the culture. Now that's the difference when you a student of hip hop and you can find you a job in hip hop and still find a way to still use your talents. But if you over 40 and you brand new trying to hit stages and be on mics and be like I'm this new rapper and you up there dingy and you ain't got no style or game about yourself, it's gonna be a turnoff. You know? At least get some style and era about yourself and don't force it. I mean, let it come to you. Let it be you. Let it be your style. Let your personality show and glow. And what's attracted to you is going to be your fan base. Like it could be some people that's a little bit younger than too thin. Like I look at my video, my analytics, and sometimes in my videos I be having them 24 to 35. That kind of be my demo, that 24 to 35, and then that 35 to 45. I be watching. I look at my analytics and I try to see who watching. But I'm not going to just straight up just cater to it. But sometimes I do be curious, think to myself like, damn, it is some youngest that tuned in and listen to the game of the show. Like right now, I mean that's powerful. That's a blessing. Being that hip hop didn't miss us, hip hop didn't miss me, hip hop don't miss you. When you of the culture, and especially now, the times we living in now, it ain't no escaping hip hop. It ain't no saying that. It ain't no run around just saying that today ain't hip hop. When you walk outside, that's hip hop. If you really just pay attention from the first thing that you see, when you look at the bus, when you look at a bus go down your block, one of your avenues, and there's some type of artwork on it, advertising, that's hip hop. That's the graffiti essence. It's some type of splash of hip hop with the colors that come from graffiti. That's why buses go by tagged with some type of advertisement on it. That's hip hop. That's culture. Even from the bus stops, you gonna see some type of hip shows or some advertisement on there. You gonna see something. Hip hop is everywhere. From the sports, baseball, basketball, everything coinciding with hip hop. When you at the games, when they trying to keep you involved in the game and people walking off the court, first thing they doing is turning on the song to get your attention, to keep you hyped while you in your seat, playing them songs to make you enjoy the moment. You ain't even realizing how much time that went by while they in timeouts, halftime. You at a basketball game, halftime go by like that. When you at home watching on TV, you watching about 50 commercials. And let alone, even though them commercials be hip hop too. But when you at that game, that shit go by like that because they getting you involved. They got some dancing. That's all of the culture. Man, we the culture. When we talk hip hop and you talk music, dance, graffiti, DJing, MCing, all those things, that's what just move life, period. Look how many people that turned into DJs after all this time. So is it an age limit on being a DJ? If it's age limits in rap, is it an age limit on being a DJ? There's a lot of people that jumped into the DJ game right now because it done got so lucrative. You got comedians being DJs. You got basketball players. Even Shaq, he be DJing sometimes. Look what the pandemic taught us. We was on Instagram. Everybody turned into a DJ. Everybody's playing songs on Instagram in the middle of the night. Be Nice. He blew through the roof off the whole pandemic. And D Nice ain't no young cat. He found this biggest break during the worst times in history. And think of how long he been around. Half of these kids, they looking up to him and everything now, but they didn't even know who he was 5 years ago. It took for 2020 to happen for D Nice to pop off. So it ain't no age limits on that. That's hip hop. That man ended up DJing for the president and everybody. Everybody tuned in. Michelle Obama, Halle Berry going crazy. I remember them nights. I was tuned in. I remember people texting me. They talking about some, it's the DJ. He going crazy. He playing all the good songs. And everybody just stuck in the house just listening. They talking about, oh, he just be up DJing in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning. That's courage. That's not giving up. He found this way at a time that you just never know when your break gonna come. I mean, don't get me wrong, don't be no fool. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. The streets gonna tell you. The response gonna tell you. But if you on to something, keep pushing. Because we synced it. We synced it happen. Look what D Nice did. He did it. So is it an age limit on hip hop? And if it is an age limit, what is the limit? What's the number? 30? I mean, that's gonna be the quickest number that people probably gonna just shout out and probably say. The 30 ball. That's what we doing. The 30 ball. 35. Okay, so if that's the case, then so what about the people that come in the game that at about 25, but they get a 10-year run, and then when they turn 35, and they supposed to just buy out, let it go? And these just all just questions I'm just asking because the lines can get blurry. Because you got to remember, shit, like I say, Pac, he died at 25. Biggie died at 24. 24, 25. Both of them was in that range. That's young. And if they were still around, would they still be popping at that same height? Now, these are all questions we just have to ask. Would they still be as big as they was back then? Will we still be having these same conversations? They probably could have changed the whole spectrum of music and made it to where it wasn't even cool for young rappers. You ever thought about that? It's a possibility. Because how old would they be now? They'll be left in their 40s, probably 50s. Nah, shit. Shit, they died, what, 97, 98? They died over 20-something years ago, so they definitely be knocking on 50. Cause shit, Jay-Z what? Because he around their same age, Biggie, Pops. Them and Nas, so they what, 50? They gotta be what? At least late 40s. At least about 48, 49, something like that. Well, I ain't gonna say, no, ain't they that old? Because we running around talking about hip-hop just turned 50, so damn, how old is that? So maybe, if hip-hop just turned 50, I'm doing some off math in my head. But yeah, that's true. Yeah, because they not the first rappers. So yeah, I guess that is true. So I guess they would be. They can't. It is possibility they still be in them late 40s because they not the first rappers. So yeah, so they in them. So what, we just give or take them 45 to 50. So if Biggie and Pac was alive, 45 to 50 years old, is it a possibility that it could have been they made it cool after all this time and years from how hot they was when they was 25 when they passed till now, that they was just popping off just that good, and they was the ones that just kept the flame and the torch, and of course it was gonna be a sprinkle of others that would have came around, and you know, but what they would have just died off though, or would it just got bigger and better hip hop from those two guys. These are just some. This is just something to think about. We just brainstorming and just thinking about shit because of the age limit that it could be or could not be. Is that a possibility that that could have been a factor that they was doing it so good that hip hop was just gonna grow up with them, and just the young shit wasn't gonna even just we weren't gonna even just look back for the young shit. Is that a possibility? It's just something to think about. You gotta love hip hop, man. So it's a lot of layers to what Gillie said, what Gillie the Kid said for Me Knowledge Worth the Game podcast. He said that fuck no, he ain't making no album. He ain't thinking about it. But that money different though. That money different. That podcast money. Now see, okay, let's just put him in the equation. He's still a part of hip hop. Him and Wallo is still a part of hip hop because they're part of the culture with the podcast. So he can say what he want to say about not actually making an album, but he's still an older head that's moving the culture, and they demo is younger. So listen, so they definitely over 40. I know him and Wallo got to be over 40. So they over 40. But every week making a podcast and on Instagram, they still talking to youngins. When I say youngins, I just don't think. I take that back, cause I know they demo gotta be 40 on down. But a big makeup of they demo now, cause you can tell by the artists that they have on, cause they keep in touch with all the younger rappers, and they be in tune. They audience got to be a little bit balanced because sometimes you'll catch them with an older artist on and a younger, so they're a little bit of both. But we know what they came from and what made them. That's why they was saying it's me not worth a game, because they was on some motivational. Let's talk to the youngins. Let's let's get some clarity. Like let's reach these young people. That's the whole idea. Me not worth a game. Like listen to me. I got some game for you. So as much as they say that it's an age limit on hip hop, that's like at the same token that you can look up and say it's an age limit on podcasts. Even though you just talking, you still of the culture. We might as well go and throw that in there now. We might as well go and throw that in the equation now, that podcast is part of the hip hop bracket of culture. The same way we had graffiti, breakdance, and DJ and MCing. Go and throw podcasting up in there now. It's official. Raptalk said it. Go and throw that on up in there. It's part of the culture. It's one of the layers. Because it's definitely competition over there. I mean, they can say what they want to say because everybody chasing it now. The money is there now. The ad money is there, the revenue, the streams, the everything. It compete with the whole album sales, and expressing yourself and building the audience. That's why everybody running over there. It's competition now. So it's a part of the culture. So you can say what you want to say. so so whether you write rhymes down and put it on an album form and you running around touring and doing everything a rapper do, think about it. The podcasters, they still doing that too. Podcasters going on tour. I don't know how that kind of stopped. I mean, I do know how it kind of stopped when the whole pandemic came. I know that's when it stopped. They were doing the tours. Cause I know definitely Joe Budden podcast and a couple of others. I want to say $1 worth of game. They were just starting to like do tours off of podcasts. And they were talking about doing live shows, going city to city and traveling, doing live broadcasts. That's touring just like a rapper. So these are all the same elements, and you putting in some of the same work of a hip hop there, and you have to create the content. I mean, you can say what you want, but you still have to create. You have to create dialogue. You have to research. You actually got to research more people. You really got to study, especially if you love what you do, because you got to study these different artists that you probably barely even in tune with, and you trying to scratch the surface and interview them and talk to them and have them on your platform and know something about them and have some type of game when you talk to these people. You don't want to be just talking about the headlines every time that you just invite somebody up to the show and you trying to get their fan base and all that and just trying to play that game. You do that, you find yourself running the circle. That's going to be a headache. You'll fall in love with that. But that's a part of journalism, though. Some know that, some don't. Some appreciate that, some don't. It's all a study. All this shit is a study. And when you dip your head in this shit and you really start to like it and you learn it, you're going to find your way. You'll find your way because what you going to choose? Is you in it for the long run, or you just in it for the say so because it's a podcast? A lot of people got those. Let me get into a poem though real quick. I ain't been on here live in a minute. Why not? Let's get into a poem. Might as well hit one. I'm gonna do this piece I'm looking at right here. It's called "You Still Got a Chance," and that goes for all y'all hip hop heads and all y'all rappers. At the end of the day, you still got a chance. Listen to this poem piece right here. It's called "You Still Got a Chance." To the kid about to stand on the corner. To the kid that stomach needs a meal. Who the fuck is that on my door? You still got a chance. To the father that's unemployed. To the mother that life is unenjoyed. You still got a chance. To the criminal that regret what he did. To the parent with no choice to where they live. You still got a chance. To the person not accepted for religion or race. To the innocent in jail that concentrate and escape. You still got a chance. To the homeless in the ghetto that struggles day to day. To the kid inside him that never knew it could turn this way. You still got a chance. You see, this is for the person with the thought to advance. No matter your conditions, my people, you still got a chance. Raptalk, that's that poem of peace. Tell me how y'all feel about Gillie's comments. His comments was that hip-hop got an age limit. Do hip hop got an age limit? How you feel about that? Because you got rappers out here that still build on that no matter the age. Imagine if your favorite rapper, who is your favorite rapper right now? Think about that. Let's break this down. Who your favorite rapper right now? Who is it? And I tell you what, I bet you, I bet you whoever that rapper that you got in your head right now is over 40. And this is just conversation. Whoever that is over 40. And somewhere in between out there, whatever rapper that was that you thought of, it was probably Jay-Z, it's probably Nas, it's probably Eminem, probably E40, you got Scarface, you got all these different people you can name. They not under 30, they not under 40. So what's the age bracket? Where is we giving up at? What is we doing? When we insert ourselves into hip hop, what is we doing? Where is we giving up at? Are we giving up? Is you letting society put restrictions on your goals? Is it age limits? You have to pick and choose. But the world is so big though. Everybody out here got an audience. You got people selling and giving all types of game on the internet. You got people with followings who believe in UFOs. People who believe in Illuminati with 500,000 followers and everything who just feed off of information of Illuminati or something. Everybody got a group of followers. We live in a world where everybody can push out information. So if you are a rapper over a certain age, what is we doing? What's the end goal? You doing it for the love, or you doing it to compete? Or you doing it to be number one? Or you want your 50,000 fans over here? Or you want to run around and be 50 standing on the corner acting like a 20-year-old? These are questions you have to ask yourself. Why is you a grown man or a grown woman competing with an 18 to 25-year-old? Why are you doing that? Why are you 40 years old running around being in clubs trying to act like you're a rapper or going to teenage clubs? When I say doing anything, I'm talking about you in the room with these kids and you trying to start from where they at. No. Even if you is gonna do it from your angle. Do it from, it's okay. It's okay for hip hop to have a adult contemporary section. I've been talking about this for years. And I know with all this information that I'm sinking out and saying, it might sound like I'm talking from both sides, because I just want you to think about it. I want you to think about your answer. That's what I'm here for. I'm the mediator of this by being on this show and talking like this and being in the position that I'm in. I want you to think about all the different options and ways that the game can be tackled and you can still be a part of hip hop in the culture. Because it's of you and for you. Gillie comments make sense. But look what positions he's in to say that though. He was rapping for years. I mean, years ghostwriting, being with labels, made singles, made songs, songs that failed or didn't hit certain levels, part of groups, being on different labels. But he found his success in podcasting. So it's certain things you can say when you get there. Shout out to him though. Have respect. And it's real. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in though. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Flick this video to somebody else, start the conversation, speak on it, see where we gonna take hip hop, and definitely put in the comments how you feel about Gillie the Kid's comments on Me Not It's Worth the Game, how he say that it's an age limit on this shit. Is it or is it not? I appreciate y'all, but whatever you do it from the heart. I get with y'all in a minute. Raptalk. Always remember, never be afraid to dream. Raptalk. Yeah.